Hey, welcome. Good evening, everybody. Well, this is kind of a special occasion. I don't even know who all's out there. Let's go pull up our channel and see if there's anybody lurking. If you're lurking, go ahead and post something in the comments. I'll hang out for just a little bit and see if anybody sticks around. We had a very interesting evening tonight. We had a county commissioners evening meeting where they were going to talk, or they were voting on the budget, right? Or they were going to tell us well, supposedly they were going to vote on it. Okay. So that's not what happened at all. Well, they did vote, but that's not the reason for the meeting. And I want to give you my impressions of the meeting as they're still fresh. In fact, I did a video on the phone immediately after I left the meeting, but it was very heated. I was very upset, and I wanted to share some better insights with you. So I decided to do this live all of a sudden. It's only going to be about 30-40 minutes. Hey, Joseph, how's it going? So anyway, it became completely obvious that the citizens of Jackson County, Kansas, are nothing more than the credit card for the county government. And here's the reason why. So the meeting started, and there were close to 100 people there.
More than 100.
Like half the sheriff's department was standing in the back. We get there. Indiana Mike goes to set up the camera. They hand him a piece of paper and tell him he has to stand in the back of the room. So he did it, and they had everybody sign up. And when they started the meeting, they have a CPA that works with the government. And he got up and he started explaining mill levies to people, which was informational. It was informative. But he made a comment that just really stuck with me right off the bat. And he said, you know, when your budget gets tight and you can't afford anything, you turn to credit cards. Hey, Grateful Hearts. So he literally told people, if you're going into debt, you can't make ends meet, use a credit card. And the county commissioners just let it go. They didn't say anything about it.
They shook their head yes, though.
Oh, they agree. Yeah, they did agree. Angela's over here doing something for me right now. But they just shook their head and agreed with him. And it became obvious as the meeting went on that the citizens of Jackson County, Kansas are nothing more than the county government's credit card. And here's the reason why I say this. Because the mill levy is going into place, and one of the main reasons they gave for the mill levy, and this isn't the only reason, but one of the reasons they gave for the mill levy is because they're giving county government employees pay raises. And a lot of people were concerned about that because they got a 15% pay increase last year.
On top of the $1 an hour.
Plus $1 an hour. And then this year, starting in 2025, they're getting a 4% COLA raise. And I made the point, I got the opportunity to say something, and I made the point that I've been a professional for 30 plus years. I have never gotten a COLA raise that was 4%. I think the highest I ever got was 3%, but usually there inflation rate was listed as. So, and I'm sorry, that's not the way you decide that. In fact, I wouldn't even have a problem with it if they aggregated 12 months and figured out what the average was and gave them that, decided on the last day of the year on that's what it was going to be, or the whenever they had decided, just go back 12 months and figure out what it is. But anyway, yeah, it's not very sound monetarily with the credit cards. Absolutely. Anyway, so they were number one, they were condescending. The county commissioners to a man were condescending. I pointed out that they got the pay increase and they got the COLA raise, or they're getting the COLA raise, but somebody else had mentioned merit-based raises, which in my opinion, that's the best way to get people raises is you pay the ones that are good more, and the bad ones leave, and then you hire better people on. And instead of just saying yes, that's true, they were getting these, the one commissioner got very condescending and started explaining to me what a merit-based raise was. And I told him I knew what it was, and if he wanted to explain it to everybody else. But he insisted that I had asked the question what merit-based raises were, and I didn't ask what it was. So he was condescending, and that was the whole tone of the meeting. And it became completely obvious through the first half of the meeting, because the first half was the mill levy and the, hey Angela, can you do me a favor and go get my power supply out of the office? It's plugged in. It's plugged in on the floor. I'm getting low on battery. But it was obvious that. Hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna lose power here in a little bit if I'm not careful. If we lose power, I'll be right back. Okay, don't go running off. Anyway, so they kind of threw the county employees under the bus. That's somebody made the comment like that, to that effect. And at that point, one of the county commissioners said something extremely stupid, and everybody laughed at him, and they got upset. And he deserved to be laughed at because it was a stupid comment. But it became very confrontational, and it was obvious that a majority of the people in the room did not want this levy increase. In fact, one of the gentlemen that spoke, he made a fantastic point. He said it takes 18 months. The commissioner said it takes 18 months to get a sales tax through the legislation and get it passed. And the one guy said, well, why don't you hold off on this levy for 12 months and see if you can get the sales tax passed? And they were like, nope, got to do it now. So, and the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, when my budget doesn't meet its goal and I have to decide what I'm going to do, I cannot reach into somebody else's pocket to take money out of it for my benefit. And last 10 years, it's gone from what we figure 13 million to almost 32 million in 10 years. The population of the county has not varied that much. It's gone up a little bit, but it hasn't gone up by over double. And so the question was asked, where's all this money going to? We know where it's coming from. It's coming from taxes. Yeah, you're right, Max. They have. Well, in this case, Max, they're not borrowing money. They are not borrowing money. They are taking money. They're taking money out of people's pockets, and that's the whole reason why I'm having this, because I was really upset. And every politician, it's not just these county commissioners, it's local politicians, it's state politicians, it's federal politicians. When they can't balance their budget, they have the opportunity to stick their hand in somebody else's pocket and take what they need. And look, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Taxation is theft. Now, we can argue if it's a necessary evil or not. That's debatable. I'm willing to have that argument. But you cannot get past the fact that it is taking somebody else's money. And, oh, hang on a second. We know where the money's going. Yeah. Well, okay. You know what? I'm not going to. Yes, that is my first inclination to say that, but I'm not going to go there. Okay. And the reason being is because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and we need to be able to work with the county government, and taking a stance like that does not help our cause at all. Hang on one second. So anyway, and they make the comment. They made the comment in the last, was it the last commissioners meeting about nobody showing up?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last commissioners meeting, there were only like 6 or 8 people there.
No, there were 12 or 15.
Well, anyway, there weren't that many people there. And they make the comment, well, nobody shows up to these things. And this time there were almost 100, if not more.
100.
And they still said something about it. And my whole thing on that is, your default stance should not be, if nobody's saying something, we're going to take their money, because that's what they've done. That's the way they look at it. If nobody's going to stop them, they're going to take the money. And the whole point tonight, everybody was talking about, there was a young lady there, and Well, do you remember what her name was?
Kristen.
Or something like that. But she was a low-income mother. She doesn't have the ability to get a second job or doing because she's taking care of kids and all that.
Just one, but it was a
And-
case that are issued.
And so she can't do that, and her property taxes are going up. And you add that on to the real rate of inflation. You know, a housewife like that doesn't get a COLA raise.
She's a single mom.
She's a single mom. She doesn't get it. Well, even that, she doesn't get a COLA raise. All right. When inflation goes up, she doesn't get a raise. She has to buckle down. There was an elderly woman that made the comment that she's been on a fixed income for the last 10 years, and every year her taxes are going up and prices are going up. And this is the disgusting part. The treating people like they're chattel and they're there to give the government money is bad enough. But the disgusting part is how dismissive they were of these people's concern. And they got condescending. Hey, prepping artists, they got condescending towards people, and they just, okay, yeah, we're sorry about that. You know what?
I didn't hear an apology.
Well, no, that was me being sarcastic. Angela's over in the cheap seats commenting. But you know, here's my thing. This is the reason why we get involved in politics. All right. As mad as I was, I'm glad I went, because I was a seat in the room. I was a body in the room, and they know that we're paying attention to them. And plus, I'm not gonna lie, I made them feel real uncomfortable because they misrepresented the pay raise thing, and I clarified it. And you should have seen the look on their faces when people started realizing what I had just said.
Your headlights.
In fact, that some other guy stood up right behind me and was like, "Okay, let me see if I got this straight." And he laid it out, and they couldn't argue with it. Now they tried to again explain what meritorious raises were, but that doesn't change the fact that the government employees are getting a blanket. What we figure total? An aggregate raise of over 20-something% over the course of 2 years.
19%.
Okay, hang on. Taxation is based on laws passed by the people in return for some benefit or tax. See,
Apparently not here.
okay, Max. In a perfect world, that is true. That is true. This mill levy, was not passed by the people. It was done by the county commissioners, and there are tons of taxes like this. There are tons of fines and fees that are not passed by the people, that lend to the burden that the taxpayer is under. All right. And again, I'm not gonna. We can argue about the necessity, and I will even acquiesce that in some cases taxes may be necessary. They may be a necessary evil. I will acquiesce on that point. But the taxation, the taxes that are passed by politicians across the country at every single level are not voted on by the people. Now these people are supposed to represent the people in their districts. And in fact, we had one commissioner. That all three of them were asked if they ran on not raising taxes. And two of them said yes. And the third one said no. He did not run on not raising taxes. And he said flat out that he was not responsible to the people on taxes. He was going to do whatever he felt was necessary for the county. That is not why we vote representative government. And we see that attitude at county level, at state level, and federal level. They pass the laws that they want passed. They pass the taxes they want passed. And again, this is why we get involved in politics. Now, they went into that meeting. Those commissioners went into that meeting already knowing how it was going to go. Anything anybody said in that meeting meant absolutely nothing. And that's another reason why I left halfway through when they got done with the mill levy portion of it.
Probably also why they had 20 sheriffs.
Yeah, and Angela seems to think that's the reason why a lot of the sheriff's people were there, because they knew it was going to get heated and controversial. But you made me lose my thought.
I'm sorry.
What was I saying, guys? Work with me here. Help me here. But anyway, stuck around after the meeting. I went and sat outside, and as people were, a lot of people left early because out of disgust. As they were leaving, I told them about the YouTube channel that our community has up called Northeast Kansas Open Government. If you haven't heard about this, go check it out. We are filming these meetings and we are posting them unedited, except for personal information. Yeah, personal information. But go check this out and see how the county government's working. And I'll tell you what, the behavior of the commissioners is absolutely shocking to me. Right. But again, we get involved because we can make a change at some level. You know, we force them to be open. They're more open now than they were 2 months ago, and dramatically more open than they were a year ago. And it's only
also a lot more sly.
And it's only going to get, there's going to be more and more light shown on this as more and more people find out about it and become concerned about what's going on in the county government. So, and then, you know, we had a chance to talk to some people afterward. There were a couple of ladies there. The one was the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And the conversation was, there's a businessman in our community, and he offered to open a factory in Jackson County. And he said, I will do this, but you have to shrink government. All right. And there has to be a give and take here, and they won't do it. Now he went to another county because they gave him some tax incentives and stuff. And this company their employees are the highest paid employees in the county. And that's considering that there's a nuclear reactor in that county as well. They get paid better than everybody else. And that could have been here. And all they had to do was shrink government a little bit. But they don't want to shrink it because okay. Oh, hush. Okay. I'm not going to speculate on why. My first inclination is to say that by shrinking government, they lose power and clout. That's just my speculation. I don't know what the case is, but the Chamber of Commerce ladies were very concerned because, you know, they're raising taxes. They're making it harder for businesses to move into the county. They're making it harder for people to live in the county, and they expect the Chamber of Commerce people to bring business in. And I'm sorry, I don't care where you live. Simply saying it's a great place to raise kids is not going to make things better. It's not going to make the county grow. And the businessman made the point. He said, there's a free market solution here, and they refuse to consider it. And you can see that all the way up into Washington, D.C. The free market solution is not the solution they want. The solution they want is the citizen to be the credit card for the company, or at the national level, they just print the money themselves, which devalues all my assets, devalues my net worth, and makes life harder for me, and it makes harder for you. Okay, let's see what Max has got some good stuff to say tonight. And you got to pardon me if I'm squinting, guys, because I don't have my glasses on. And okay, the county supervisors are elected and vested with some degree of power. Those levies are within their power. You're absolutely right. Voting them out is the citizen option. Oh, absolutely, and that's the option that we are going to take. In fact, one of them, because of his behavior tonight, and if you go to the video when it's posted, one of them is probably going to lose his election in November. You know, but again, they have the power to do it, but their prime responsibility is to the people of the county, Max. And you're missing. I think you're kind of missing that point. You're either missing the point or you're purposely ignoring it. All right. The county people in the county do not want this, and people in the county are hurting. And the argument is now is not the time to do it. Right. In fact, given the opportunity to hold off, they decided not to. They decided that now was the time. And there's a lot of sugar at the bottom of that lemonade. So that's where the problem is, Max. You know, yes, they were vested with the power, but they're ignoring the constituents, right? And that's the way a lot of government is run. You know, and I do feel sorry for the county employees. You know, I was a government worker. I worked for the DOD for several years, and you know, there are people in the government that do their best to be good stewards of the people's money. But then you get people like this that are in positions of power that they don't care. And all they care about is growing and expanding the government. When people in the county are having to tighten their belts and make austerity movements, so should the county. The county should be a reflection of the people, and it's not. All right. And I'm going to say this. If people really wanted taxes to be increased, there should have been a lot of people with butts in the seats saying we want our taxes increased. In fact, they asked the question. The point was made in the meeting that sales tax is a much more fair and even way to make up for any deficit. And as much as I dislike sales taxes, I will agree with that statement. It is a much better way to do it. It's much more fair.
Well, it also forces drug dealers and people not paying taxes and doing things behind the scenes.
Well,
the immigrants coming in to pay taxes.
Well, and Angela just made the point that it's one of the great fair tax arguments is it accesses money that is not normally accessed. You know, the black market stuff. Those people make money and then they pay sales tax whenever they buy something. Right. And one of the business owners said that in the meeting. He brought that up. And so one of the commissioners, okay, show of hands, who doesn't want their taxes raised or the sales tax to go up? And naturally, people raise their hands.
Who wants it? You said don't.
Well, but he forgot he forgot to mention the part who would rather have their sales tax raised than have this mill levy go through. And at that point, everybody's hands went up. I mean, there were only several people that did not have their hands up whenever somebody in the audience said in lieu of the mill levy, right? So it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And I wanted to get my thoughts and these ideas out there to you guys in a better format than a video when I'm hot under the collar. And I'm not going to lie. I left the meeting halfway through it because I was going to get in trouble because of the stuff I heard and the actions I saw by people sitting at the front of the room. And I told my wife, I said, I'm actually kind of proud of myself. I've kind of matured because 10, 15 years ago, yeah, I would have sat there and fumed on it until it just came out and I just blurted it out, which would have been completely inappropriate. All right. It would not have been appropriate in the setting. But you guys need to know this. You guys need to think about this. I guarantee you, if you start going to meetings in your community, chances are you're going to see some of the same behavior. I can tell you right now, in a lot of places worse, because I don't like these guys. I do not like the commissioners. What I've seen of them, I don't know them personally. I don't like their behavior, but I will give them credit where credit's due. Some of the things that they propose are good for the community. All right. So even if I don't like them on a personal level, I will give them their dues where they rate it. All right. What are you coughing at me for? That's the same thing you did whenever they started making excuses. She's over there making comments about me, man. Saying you're saying I'm no better than the commissioners?
Read between the lines. Yeah,
she's over there. Look, I'm trying to be an adult about all this.
I know.
You know, and it's extremely hard sometimes. Okay, listen, guys. You guys got any comments you want to make about what I talked about?
Tell them about the commissioner's behavior when you got laughed at.
Oh, no, Mrs. Hacks. Oh, Mrs. Hacks was there. Okay, you guys, just so you know, I am not making stuff up. Mrs. Hacks was at this meeting. She doesn't even live in our county, and her and somebody else came down and let's see. Okay, Okay, Turning Guns. I'm gonna talk about yours as soon as I'm done with Mrs. X. It was a basic S show. Them against us. The employees get a 4% COLA. Everyone else gets 2.57. I don't even get that, Mrs. X. I'm not getting a COLA raise this year. At least I haven't heard that we are. Okay, Turning Guns. When exactly does something stupid become not so stupid anymore? Here's my rule of thumb. This is my rule of thumb on stupid. If it appears stupid, but it works, it's not stupid. Okay? Now, let's apply this to county budget. People are having to cut back on expenses because they do not have as much income because of inflation. All right? They are having to cut back on expenses because taxes are going up. What sense does it make to tax your people more in these times? You cannot tax your way to prosperity. Plain and simple. It's never been done. In the history of the world, it has never been done. So at this point in time, raising taxes, raising a mill levy, and doing this other stuff is stupid. All right? It's not only from a fiscal point, but from a political capital point. These guys, I don't think these guys understand that they just burned a whole bunch of capital, political capital, and probably a lot of social capital by the way they behaved.
Gotta tell him what he did.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was so upset at the time. I'm not even really quite sure what he said that got him laughed at.
He wanted to know, how do you judge?
Oh, that's right. So they were talking about meritorious raises, right? And if you don't know what a meritorious raise is, it's you set goals and standards, and if you meet or exceed them, you get a pay raise based on how much you go above and beyond, right? And so he stands up, and he's like, well, how do you decide what's meritorious? And even the other commissioners laughed because it was such a stupid comment. And this guy stands up, his face turns extremely red, and he starts pounding on the table. And the other commissioner, after he quit smirking, said, okay, quiet down. But this dude completely lost it. And he's the one that, because of his behavior tonight and some of the stuff he said, is probably going to, because it's two Republicans. It's two Republicans running against each other. No, is it two Republicans or is he a Dem?
I think he's a socialist. I'm gonna have to look at
Okay, he may be a Democrat.
Yeah.
Because he is a Democrat, because the guy that's running against him is a rhino. Right? No, he's got to be a Republican because he ran against Matt.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's a Republican. Anyway, the guy's probably gonna lose his election.
He's not our commissioner, our district. So.
Well, our commissioner's kind of condescending too.
Oh yeah.
But okay. Let's see here. If it looks stupid, works. It's not the Three Stooges rule. Is that what that's called? Anti? Well, you know what? Turning Guns. Yes. If you guys didn't know, August 1st was the anniversary of the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. Things are not like that in this county. In fact, we had a very good conversation with the county sheriff afterwards.
Who, by the way, is like-minded.
He is like-minded, and he's a super nice guy. And we had to talk about law enforcement. Our son, in case you didn't know, our son's in law enforcement, and so we had a very good discussion about law enforcement and the state of the county and all that. And he's a real good guy. So I don't think in this county, I don't think that's going to be anything that happens. Right now, other places, or maybe after November 4th, I don't know. I honestly, I'm not even going to pretend to be able to figure out what's going to happen. All I know is you need to prepare now. You need to get ready for the worst and hope for the best. Excuse me. All right. Yes. Okay. But I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. But anyway, it was very illuminating. And as people were coming out, again, I told them about the Northeast Kansas open government.
Most of them were making phone calls.
YouTube. Yeah. In fact, the reason why I started talking to people is because a couple of people came out. In fact, the one lady came out, and as she walked by, she's talking to her husband or somebody, and she's like, you will not vote. We will not vote for any of these people ever again. So I clued him in, and we, but this is important. This is important. We talked about it on our government video on Monday. We talked about it on our live Tuesday. Every state has some sort of open government law. Kansas or Missouri, they're called sunshine laws. Kansas, they're called Cora or something like that. Go find out what they are. Go tape stuff. If it's not being taped, go tape it yourself and get it out so people can see it, because that's part of the way we got more people involved, because a lot of the people that were there tonight had read about our activities in the newspaper, our community's activities, had seen the videos, and they had also seen the Facebook page that was created for county government. So get out there and use social media to your benefit. In fact, that's one of the things. Tag was there from Lifetime Free, and that's one of the things he said about getting involved in politics. The day of the yard sign and the day of letters to politicians or phone calling politicians is over. You get more bang for your buck, either figuratively or actually, by using social media. That's just the world we live in now, right? That doesn't mean politicians. Just means that get on social media, be polite, as Indiana Mike says, keep your legs underneath you. Keep your legs underneath you, and don't get heated and over the top, because that will just give them a way to sweep your legs out so you cannot run this race. All right. So anything else you guys got? You got anything going on in your guys' area that's along the same lines? Any comments before we get off here? I appreciate you guys showing up. I know that, what's this? President DJT accompaniment. Oh, there you go. You guys can go to that link and see his accomplishments. I think more importantly, the Trump campaign just released a website of Kamala Harris's policies per her words and actions over the last however many years. I don't know what the name of it is. Go out there and, hey, All-American, go out there and look it up. But it shows everything she said about these policy positions. Joseph G. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm getting to the point now to where I completely agree with Tag that there is not a political solution to this. All right. So what does that mean as an answer? Well, yes, the whole old adage from the soapbox to the ballot box to the ammo box holds true. I don't think we're quite there yet. No. I don't think people are ready for it, and I don't think it's necessary. All right. Oh yeah, St. Louis County. That's you, man. I feel sorry for any freedom-minded person or liberty-minded person that lives in that county. But so what does that mean? That means that we get out, we get involved. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We craft a narrative that paints a better picture than what the other side offers, and we communicate it in a well thought out and earnest manner. We make it so that it is repeatable. People have to be able to take what you tell them and move it on to the next person, pass it on to the next person. All right. We also, while we're doing that, as I said before, we prepare for the best or prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's preparing at every single level. That not just guns, not just security stuff. We don't focus in on one specific thing. We need to make sure that our preparedness is well rounded. We you know what? I probably ought to start the series back up on full spectrum preparedness, and start talking about the 10 points of full spectrum preparedness again, so that people can understand, because that's a very comprehensive way to look at preparedness, and it gives you the ability to identify holes very readily in your plans and preps and fill them up. All right. There's All American, man. He's a big lover. He's a hugger, not a fighter, no matter what he says. Boy, you talk about, okay, squirrel moment, shiny object. Talk about somebody that can get the trolls riled up. Man, go watch the stream that he did this afternoon just for a little bit. Oh my gosh, he triggered some people. And it was funny as hell to watch, because these people thought that they were so cool and so intelligent. And I made the comment on the live. I don't know if you caught it, All American. Man, these people were driving the algorithm and pushing that video out to more and more people. You know, these people just don't understand. And to All American's credit, man, he was eating it up, and he was egging them on, and he was getting more trolls on, right? So kudos to you, man. But we get involved, craft the narrative, and just work on it. We can't change the culture from the top up. You're not going to change Hollywood directly. You know how you're going to change Hollywood? By getting people to stop going to movies. You know how you get people to stop going to movies? You change their lives at home, and you get them thinking in a different way. Okay, guys, listen. It is 9:35 here, Central Standard Time, the only time that matters. Thank you for showing up. I know it was short notice. I wanted to get this out while it was fresh in my head. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I just post the raw video of me venting whenever I came out? I mean, now that I've done this, it seems kind of clickbaity, but I don't know. You guys think I ought to post this video and just let everybody see how hot you can get coming out? And I wasn't even the one that was the maddest. There were people coming out that were way madder than I was. Way more upset. Oh, the dog was standing there like looking at me, half her face through the door. I'm like, what the heck? But Angela's blocking her from the door. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll probably get it up this weekend then. I already got one posted for tomorrow, so I'll see if I can get it up on Saturday. Keeps me from having to make a video on Saturday. Seriously. Hey, Gypsy. What did you think about tonight?
Gypsy was a different color walking out of there too.
Yeah. Angela says Gypsy was a little different colored. One of the commissioners, when he came out, was extremely beet red, and when he walked by us, okay, you know how I said I'm emotionally matured? Not all the way. As he walked by, he was like, "Thanks for coming, guys," and I just under my breath so he could hear me, I was like, "Yeah, sure," and so yeah, but he was extremely upset, and apparently when Gypsy came through the door, Yoda says that he was a little hot under the collar too.
Who?
You said that Gypsy was a little hot under the collar? He was a little red?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he was hot under the collar. But yeah, it was just it was that type of night, man. But the good thing about it, and I said it before, the good thing about it was the people that were the most upset and came out and hung around. Yeah, Gypsy felt the same.
Yeah.
The people that hung around afterwards, we had some really good conversations. So there's talk about getting a what's it called, Angela?
Oh, I don't know. The resolution and petition.
Getting a resolution done, so we can get a petition made to turn this over, so that the mill levy, doesn't take place. There was talk about different strategies to get businesses in to the community without raising taxes. And this all happened without the commissioners there. Now, the point was made that the commissioners all have to be on board. They have to they have to agree to these things whenever we post. Well, the resolution, if the petition passes, there's nothing they can really do about it. But the bringing businesses in and making it so that it's a tax-friendly county, because you got to understand, our county is one of the least friendly tax counties in the entire state. And I don't know if you guys remember the Chips for America bill that passed, the one that Biden signed that was bringing semiconductors back into the United States from Taiwan and Indonesia and Vietnam. You guys remember that when he signed that? That was what, 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago, maybe. Anyway, Kansas was rated as one of the best states in the entire nation.
Number 4.
Number 4th in the nation in bringing semiconductor, or being friendly to semiconductor businesses to come back in the state. In fact, EMP Shield set up shop in Kansas because it was such a friendly state. And EMP Shield is one of the I'm not going to say one of the top semiconductor people, but you know, they've got production lines that are worth $1.2 million each. They got 4 of them, right? And like I said, they're the ones. Their employees are the highest paid employees in the county, even taking into consideration the nuclear power plant people. Okay, let's see what. Play the fool to the fool. Yeah, you had it going. It was pretty funny. Some of that stuff was pretty funny. Some of those guys, though, Devil Dog was banning them because they were completely way out of line, just way over the top. It was unreal, you know. And that's what, you know, we need to do that. We need to start trolling these politicians and getting them to lose their cool and getting them to understand that they work for us and not for themselves and not for the county government. All right, guys, listen. I'm gonna let you guys. Oh my God. Oh, dog just passed gas. Oh my goodness. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me vent. I will get this into a postable format, and I will get it up sometime this weekend, probably. What you guys think about it? Think about getting involved, take efforts, and go out and live a life done free. Okay, guys? Take care.